For more on the advisory panel's decision to resume Johnson & Johnson shots, we bring in former acting CDC head Dr. Rich Besser, who's now CEO of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Besser.
Thank you, Kyra. It's good to be here.
Let's start with getting your reaction to the panel's vote tonight. Do you think it was the right call?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say is viewers need to know that the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation was founded with dollars that came from one of the founders of J&J. When I look at the decision of the committee, I think it was the right one. But the first decision, the decision to pause, I think was really important. When you have a vaccine first getting approved, it's only tested in tens of thousands of people. And so rare side effects, rare serious events aren't going to show up. And it's not until you give it to millions of people that something rare but potentially real could occur. And that's what happened here. There was a signal from our safety systems that said that there was a risk of a very severe type of blood clot. And so there was a pause to investigate to see how common is it, what needs to be done if people have that, and what information should the public have.
There are a lot of people that I've talked to that are very nervous about this shot and the fact that they had this shot. Is that a valid concern at this moment?
Well, for anyone who's had this shot, it's important to recognize that all of these side effects occurred within the first 2 weeks. So if you're outside of that period, then you don't need to worry about this. For anyone who's within those two weeks, if you have severe headache and pain, if you have severe belly pain, or any symptoms that can cause you concern, reach out to your doctor and they can tell you whether you need to be concerned and whether you need to be seen. The risk of this rare clot is extremely small. There were 13 cases that have been identified, and each of those individuals, your heart goes out for them because it was a serious reaction. But we're up against here an infection that has killed more than 500,000 people in this country. And so having a vaccine that's safe and effective, giving people the information so they can understand what the level of risk is, and letting people know that they have a choice. We are in an incredible situation where just a little over a year after identifying this infectious agent, we have 3 vaccines that are safe and effective. So if you're concerned, if you don't want this vaccine, you do have choices.
Now, what about the decision not to provide a specific warning to women under the age of 50? Does that make sense to you?
Well, what they're doing is they're putting a warning to everyone. And so in the materials from the FDA for the emergency use authorization, they're going to be updating the forms. The CDC is going to be updating their materials and their website to let people know that there's a risk. It will indicate that these clots have been seen in 13 women who were younger than 50. But the warning is going to be there. That information is going to be there for everyone. Because while the risk is higher in women, the risk is still exceedingly small. And there was a lot of discussion over whether to have a blanket warning for everyone or a specific call out for women. And the concern was that if it was called out specifically for women, that may dissuade women from getting this vaccine or even having the opportunity to consider getting this vaccine.
So there seems to be this waning demand for the COVID vaccines, and with some mass vaccination sites reportedly set to close. How concerning is that to you?
I'm not concerned. This is what I fully expected. So you had all of this pent-up demand of the majority of people in the country wanting to get vaccinated. There wasn't enough vaccine, long lines, hard to get appointments. And now what we're seeing is the supply is caught up. And it's going to be harder now. We're not going to be seeing the 3 million doses of vaccine being given very often. It's going to take changing the approaches, getting all of the friction out of the system so it's as easy as possible for people to get vaccinated. We're hearing word that more and more vaccines are going to be available in doctors' offices where people are used to getting vaccinated. And what I expect to see is a slow increase in the percentage of people who are vaccinated rather than these giant leaps that we've been seeing over the past couple months.
Finally, in an op-ed this week, you wrote, "Remember the children," and you argue that we can't let our guard down. Can you give a little more context to what you wrote?
Yeah, Kyra, I'm a pediatrician and I'm a parent, and I'm really concerned when I see states declaring victory and people throwing their masks away or burning their masks. It's wonderful that there are enough vaccines available for every adult in America, but there are no vaccines available for children. And although the risk of hospitalization and death is lower, there have been hundreds of children who've died, and there are thousands who've developed a very unusual inflammatory syndrome that's very serious. So we need to remember that wearing masks, getting vaccinated, taking these steps not only protects ourselves, but it protects children. It also protects other people who may have immune problems where they can't get vaccinated or they're at continued risk. So until there's vaccines for everyone and until the numbers get much lower than they are currently, we're still seeing 50, 60, 70,000 cases of COVID every single day. Until they get much lower, we need to stick with this and remember what we do keeps children safe.
Dr. Besser, as always, thanks so much for the conversation.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.